Welcome back, coin lovers. Today we're diving into one of the most overlooked treasures in Canadian coin history, the Canadian half-dollar coin. It might look like simple pocket change, but some rare versions of this coin have sold for thousands of dollars. From stunning mint errors to hidden details you won't believe, this coin has shocked collectors around the world. So stick around, because that ordinary Canadian half-dollar in your drawer could be a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. The 1971 Canadian half-dollar may seem like just another piece of pocket change, but under the right conditions, this coin could be worth as much as $50,000 to collectors. While the majority of these coins are common, certain rare features, minting errors, and specific collector demand can drive their value sky high. Let's explore what makes the 1971 Canada half-dollar so interesting, and why your coin might be one of the rare few worth thousands. The coin features the familiar obverse design of Queen Elizabeth II, engraved by Arnold Machine, wearing a tiara and facing right. The reverse side carries the official coat of arms of Canada, a design that is both iconic and detailed. This specific coin was part of Canada's regular coinage, with millions minted for circulation. Why could a 1971 Canadian half-dollar be worth $50,000? 1. Rare mint errors. Some of the most valuable coins in the world are not perfect, they're flawed. The 1971 Canadian half-dollar is no exception. Rare minting errors can significantly increase a coin's value. Watch out for double die errors, especially on the word Canada or the date. Off-center strikes planchet flaws, like clipped edges or cracks, rotated dies when the reverse and obverse don't align properly. Overstruck coins. If your coin shows signs of any such errors, even in circulated condition, it could fetch tens of thousands from serious collectors. 2. Low mintage varieties. While the 1971 half-dollar wasn't a low mintage year overall, coins from specimen sets or special test strikes made in limited quantities have been known to escape into circulation. These are much harder to find, and their rarity pushes up the value. For example, if your 1971 half-dollar has proof-like qualities or appears sharper and more reflective than a regular coin, it might be one of those rare collector strikes. 3. Unusual metal composition. Although not officially confirmed for 1971, collectors have occasionally found coins from various years struck on the wrong metal planchet, such as a half-dollar struck on a quarter-size blank or with a different alloy. These mistakes are extremely rare and can command tens of thousands of dollars at auction. 4th, condition and eye appeal. Even circulated coins can be worth serious money if they're in excellent condition. A 1971 Canadian half-dollar with minimal wear, no corrosion, and good color might grade at AU, about uncirculated, or even MS, mint state. High-grade coins are always in demand, especially when they come from earlier decades. If your coin still shows fine details in the Queen's hair or the coat of arms, and doesn't have deep scratches or dents, you might have something special. Final thoughts. At first glance, the 1971 Canadian half-dollar looks like any other coin, but appearances can be deceiving. A rare mint error, unique strike, or near-perfect condition could mean the difference between 50 cents and $50,000. So before you spend that old coin or toss it in a jar, take a closer look. Your ordinary-looking 1971 half-dollar might just be an extraordinary treasure hiding in plain sight. The 1983 Canadian half-dollar may seem like just another coin in your change jar, but under the right conditions, it could be worth a staggering $60,000 to collectors and experts alike. Let's take a closer look at what makes this coin so potentially valuable. The 1983 Canadian half-dollar features the elegant Arnold Machine portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the Canadian coat of arms on the reverse. Like most Canadian coins of the era, It was minted without a mint mark, as the majority were struck at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. In general, over $3 million half-dollars were minted in 1983, and most of them were intended for circulation. This means that a standard 1983 half-dollar in average, worn condition typically holds only face value. However, certain rare features or unusual minting errors can dramatically increase a coin's worth. Here's why your 1983 Canadian half-dollar might be worth up to $60,000. 1. Minting errors. Rare, minting errors are the primary reason some 1983 half-dollars have skyrocketed in value. These errors can include double die errors, where the image or lettering appears doubled due to a misaligned die. Off-center strikes, when the design is not properly centered on the coin. Die cracks or cuds, raised lines or blobs of metal caused by breaks in the die. Planche flaws, mistakes in the blank coin before it's even struck. Collectors highly value these kinds of mistakes, especially when they are dramatic and visually obvious. The more unique and extreme the error, the more a collector is willing to pay. 2. Proof or specimen strikes. In 1983, the Royal Canadian Mint also produced high-quality specimen and proof versions of coins for collectors. If your coin has a mirror-like surface, very sharp details, and appears to be in nearly perfect condition, it might be a specimen strike, especially if it came from a collector's set. Specimen and proof coins were not meant for general circulation, so finding one in loose change or in circulation is extremely rare, and that rarity can translate into significant value. 3. Preserved condition. Even if your coin doesn't have any errors, the grade or condition plays a massive role in value. A coin graded MS65, mint state, or higher, with full luster and no scratches or wear, could fetch thousands of dollars. When a 1983 Canadian half-dollar is both rare and in pristine condition, especially with a unique variety or error, it becomes a true collector's prize. In recent years, coins like these have fetched prices ranging from $5,000 to $60,000 depending on the specifics. In conclusion, don't overlook your 1983 Canadian half-dollar. Take time to examine it closely. Look for anything unusual, doubling in the text or images, a misaligned strike, surface irregularities, or even a shinier-than-usual finish. If anything stands out, it could mean you're holding a coin worth far more than 50 cents. It could be worth $60,000 or more to the right collector. The 1967 Canadian half-dollar, part of Canada's Centennial Coin Series, is a remarkable piece not just for its unique design, but also for its growing value among collectors. In circulated condition, some rare examples of this coin have been valued as high as $80,000, depending on a variety of rare factors. Let's explore what makes this coin so special and why yours might be worth a small fortune. The obverse of the coin features the classic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machine, while the reverse displays a beautifully detailed image of a howling wolf created by Canadian artist Alex Colville. This design marked Canada's 100th year of Confederation and was used only in 1967, making it highly desirable. In total, over 6.7 million half-dollars were minted in 1967, most of which entered regular circulation. So, what could make your 1967 coin worth up to $80,000? 1. Silver composition. The 1967 Canadian half-dollar was minted in two different silver contents. Some coins were 80% silver and 20% copper. Others were 50% silver and 50% copper. Collectors often seek out the 80% silver versions due to their higher melt value and greater historical authenticity. While this alone doesn't make the coin worth tens of thousands, it's an important starting point. 2. Rare minting errors. This is where things get really exciting. Coins from the 1967 series are known for a few minting errors, and when found on the half-dollar, they can skyrocket its value. Double strikes, off-center errors, rotated dies, die cracks or cuds near the rim or lettering, planche flaws, such as clipped planches. If your coin has any unusual markings or looks different from standard examples, it could be an error coin. Depending on how dramatic or rare the error is, this alone could push the coin's value well into the tens of thousands. 3. Proof-like or specimen finish. The Royal Canadian Mint issued special collector sets in 1967 that featured coins with a proof-like or specimen finish, shiny, sharp, mirror-like surfaces with frosted details. If your coin was accidentally released from one of these sets and entered circulation, it would be extraordinarily rare, especially in preserved condition. Final thoughts. The 1967 Canadian half-dollar might appear common at first glance, but there are rare versions out there, especially with silver variations, mint errors, or proof-like finishes, that can reach $80,000 or more in value. Examine your coin carefully for signs of rarity. If anything looks off or unusually perfect, it could be worth getting graded or evaluated by a coin expert. The 1973 Canadian half-dollar without a mint mark might appear like a regular coin to the untrained eye, but to collectors and coin enthusiasts, it can be an incredible find, especially when it's valued at $40,000. First, let's break down what makes the 1973 Canadian half-dollar so special. This coin features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Arnold Machine, and the iconic Canadian coat of arms on the reverse. The lack of a mint mark is completely normal for Canadian coins from this period, as most were struck at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa, which traditionally didn't use mint marks unless the coin was produced at a different facility. Now here's where things get interesting. While millions of 1973 half-dollars were produced for circulation, around 3.4 million to be exact, what makes certain coins exceptionally valuable is a rare variety known as the large bust version. In 1973, two different obverse designs were used during production. One was the small bust, used from 1965 to 1972, and the other was the new large bust, introduced that year. However, a very small number of coins meant for circulation were mistakenly struck using the small bust obverse, making those error coins extremely rare. If your 1973 Canadian half-dollar has the small bust design, with sharper details and a more compact appearance of the Queen's portrait, you could be holding one of these rare collector's treasures. These rare varieties have sold for thousands to tens of thousands of dollars in auctions, especially in higher grades or near uncirculated condition. Even circulated examples of the rare small bust variety can fetch up to $40,000 depending on overall condition, market demand, and visibility of the distinguishing features. But that's not the only reason a 1973 Canadian half-dollar might be valuable. Coins from that year can also carry premium values if they have minting errors like double die obverse or reverse off-center strike, die cracks or cuds, planche errors. Collectors are always hunting for these unique characteristics, and if your coin shows any of them, its value can skyrocket. In summary, if you've got a 1973 Canadian half-dollar without a mint mark, don't overlook it. Check carefully to see if it has the small bust variety or any minting errors. Even in circulated condition, it could be worth up to $40,000, especially if it's one of those ultra-rare varieties that collectors go crazy for.